Hello, ladies and gents, and whatever the heck you want to put yourself under. I'm not here to label anyone as anything. Just saying hello to everybody. Today's drawings, fairly appearance inspired because of my last video yesterday that I made last night before I went to sleep. I lost my cat now. He's gone off somewhere. The other one's somewhere else as well. More ideas for a fairy, if there was ever a fairy Timmy to pop up. I did a little drawing idea, because if there was a fairy Timmy, there would have to be an anti-Timmy, anti-fairy Timmy. So a nega Timmy is definitely a thing, so I'm doing my little drawing about that. As I said, I like to do this little idea. It's fairly silly, but because I know there was some episodes about Timmy actually saving the world. That was actually not bad. I liked that one. It still had poof. There was 4 Chloe got thrown in and 4 that dog got thrown in, so it was still good. Before Chloe started coming is when I started really not being interested. And I think that dog, I'm not sure if I liked the dog or not, but the dog was a bit, didn't hate it, but I was not sure why they threw that in there. I was like, that's when I knew they were starting to grasp at straws, when the dog was thrown in and when Chloe was thrown in. I don't have that problem with Make a New Wish series, though, because it doesn't rely on adding a new character exactly. It's more like Timmy's grown up now. He's been allowed to grow up, and then there's a new kid. So, anywho, I had this funny little story idea is how Fairy Timmy comes to be, where, as I was saying, whereas... Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought today. This is like early morning. I'm in the morning. Just doing this little drawing before I can have to go and get going to work. It's a little sketch idea I had. Anyway, Fairy Timmy is sort of... Human Timmy still exists, but Fairy Timmy is sort of like... Because he was a reward to Wandering Cosmo and Poof Perry, because they helped Timmy save the world so many times, and then Timmy doesn't even get to remember that he saved the world, except when he was the god kid and sort of like things. And this will be a version of Timmy, because there's so much magical memories and stuff left over that a flower pops up in Fairy World with Wanda, Cosmo, and Perry's name on it, because it was a gift, sort of, and they had helped this god kid become a really good person and so on, and sort of the universe wanted to thank him because they knew Tim could have gone the wrong end, because Tim's parents were sucky. They were the worst parents at the time. I remember that. Timmy had Fairy, they end up having saying, like, Timmy had Wanda, Cosmo, and Perry. They end up saying it wasn't just because of Vicky was only making miserable. His own parents were making him miserable in ways, and they mentioned if it wasn't for them giving joy when he was a child and trying to help him have good influences and stuff, because I remember the theme song used to say the fix you later when you were a kid, where they don't say that now with Hazel's. It's more like they help kids from being too miserable and stuff like that. Some people might say Hazel doesn't deserve to have fairies. I think she still deserves to have fairies, because technically the kid has to be miserable and not happy with their lot in life, so... And she has to adjust to her brother being off at college now so much, and she's basically got just her parents, but I think her parents are very busy with work. They're still there for her, yes, but I can see that they're busy with work a lot, and the older brother now has gone off to college, so she's got to get used to doing a lot of things without having the older brother there to help her out a lot. And I think her parents are now working a bit more because they think she's a bit older now. They don't need to watch her as much. They're still there, though. Her parents are much better than Timmy's, though, I have to admit, though. Anyway, I could totally see, like, I like Hazel. She's awesome. She's a sweet girl. So, I like her way more over Chloe. Chloe sucks. Chloe was just a little too overly good and blonde and everything, and I was like, ugh, every time the blonde character's been reused so much as a main character. I have nothing against blonde characters, but I think it's just been used, especially with girl characters, to be the good guy all the time too much. I think blonde's been overused. like, my sister got dirty blonde hair, and it was brighter when we were younger, so it got darker as we got older. Anywho, I feel like this flower would grow up and have a fairy version that would pop up on the anniversary of when Wanda and Cosmo first got Timmy as their fairy god kid. And then we get a little fairy, and then when it's Timmy's actual birthday, it will open up and it'll be a fairy kid version of him with all the memories of when Wonder and Cosmo were his parents, like his fairy godparents. And then he's like, first he doesn't realize he's a separate version from the human Timmy who's grown up and all that stuff. So it's a bit confusing. There'll be hijinks. It's like even Perry's like totally excited about this, because even a whole fairy world never thought this could happen. Like, if they were really good with their kids and their god kids do a little bit more, and a version of them can pop out again as a fairy, because there's been no new fairies, and there's been some fairies that have been lost to fairy magic backup now, because they have that now as a thing. Because I never knew that was now that's a new thing apparently. Magical backup can lose who they have. So there have been some fairies missing in that, and it's like a new fairy kid. But like, of course, fairy kid Timmy would be a fairy though. So like he comes out of this flower, like how like Thumbelina was born out of a flower. He's not a baby though per se, but he'll be a kid version. So there's gonna be like, they'll have to get him his own wand and stuff, and teach him how to be a proper fairy though. He'll have to go to fairy school and stuff. So in between, Wanda and Cosmo will be hanging out with Hazel while Tim's at fairy school or magic school of sorts. And I could totally see or like, as well as Perry actually helping Timmy out being a fairy, because then he gets to play the big older brother for once. It's kind of funny. Be interesting hijinks for sure. And sort of like the first thing of Fairy Tale popping up, and probably want to see what human version of him is at some point too. Even Hazel probably would get curious about that, because he would have to pop, because like Wonder and Cosmo would end up adopting, of course, because it's like they'd end up becoming his fairy parents, of course. It's not just his godparents, he'll be fairy parents, and Timmy has to learn his magic, sort of, and Perry is definitely teaching him like that sort of thing, like in certain things, so there'll be different hijinks and stuff going on. It's like, and then, of course, later on in any fairy world, there'll be a weed pop up with and then have his own flower pop up and have a nega Timmy come up as anti-fairy Timmy. So, hence the reason that's what my little drawings here are. So we got fairy Timmy and nega Timmy, anti-fairy Timmy sort of idea going on. So that's my little drawings for today. I was just having a little fun, but yeah, if I ever wanted to bring it back to the new version, because I kind of like Hazel. And I think she deserves to be having a fairies, because, when you go through a lot of changes, that can be a lot of hard things to deal with, especially like when her brother used to be a constant all the time. All of a sudden now he's not. He's off at college all the time, so she now has to deal with her brother not being there as much. And her parents are probably off working a bit more because they know she's getting older, so they don't need to keep an eye on her as much. Probably. I don't know how old she is in the series. I have to look that up. But it's still there and care for her enough. But they don't always understand her as well as they think they do. But it's interesting enough. But I think so. Anyway, I did a fairy Timmy drawing and a nega Timmy as an anti-fairy Timmy, just for fun, just because of these little story ideas of mine. And then you can see my little drawings.